When my wife came back from her solo trip, something in her had shifted. At first, it was subtle. She started waking up earlier than usual. Normally, she'd roll over and mumble something about hitting snooze. But now, she was up before the alarm. Running shoes laced, earbuds in, out the door before the sun had fully risen. I'd watch her from the kitchen window while sipping my coffee. Always black, always quiet. She'd return flushed, breathless, a soft smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. She looked lighter, like she'd shed something, or someone. I wanted to ask her about the change, but I couldn't find the words that wouldn't sound accusatory. So instead I said, "You look good." She smiled. "I feel good." And she did. Too good. Radiant in a way I hadn't seen in years. Not since before the kids. Not since before life turned into lists, calendars, bills, and shared grocery apps. I told myself this was what we needed. We had talked about it months ago. After too many arguments that started over nothing and ended in silence. After we'd begun living like polite strangers, passing each other in the hallway, in the kitchen, in our bed. "Let's try something different," I'd said one night, while she folded laundry and I stared at the TV. No pressure, no expectations, just space, freedom. She looked at me then with cautious eyes, like I'd suggested something dangerous. "Freedom to do what?" she asked. "To be ourselves again," I said. "To figure out who we are outside of this." She nodded slowly, her hand still smoothing out a t-shirt between her fingers. "Okay, but what if we don't like what we find?" I didn't have an answer for that. I still don't. She planned her trip a few days later, just 3 nights on the coast. Alone. I thought I'd feel relief, or guilt, or maybe even a little envy. But instead I felt nothing. Just silence in a house that once echoed with shared laughter and late-night whispers. When she returned, she hugged me like I was a friend she hadn't seen in a while, not a husband. Her kiss was polite. Her eyes scanned the living room like she was seeing it for the first time, like she was measuring the space between who she was and who she'd become. And maybe that's when I knew, not consciously, not with words, but something inside me shifted too. I became an observer in my own marriage. She started writing again, journaling, long nights curled on the couch with a blanket over her lap and a pen scratching across paper. When I asked her what she was writing about, she'd smile and say, "Just thoughts." One night, I came home late from work. She didn't ask where I'd been. She didn't seem worried or even curious. She just looked at me for a moment, then went back to her book. There was a time when we couldn't stop touching each other, when her hand would find mine under the table, or my palm would rest on her lower back as we moved through a crowd. That closeness used to be effortless, instinctual. But now, we barely brushed shoulders. Still, we kept pretending. We kept doing the motions. We had dinner together. We laughed at shows. We even had sex, occasionally. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't intimate. It felt like we were trying to remember a dance we'd once known by heart. Then, one Sunday morning, while cleaning up the living room, I found her journal left open on the couch. I didn't mean to read it, but my eyes caught on one line like a hook. He made me feel seen, not just desired, understood. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. The kind of sentence you can't unread once you've seen it. I stood there for what felt like hours, the pages staring back at me like accusations. There was no name, no dates, no specifics, just emotions spilled across the paper like rain on dry earth. It wasn't about sex. It was about connection, something deeper. something I hadn't given her in a long time. Do I tell him? Would it break him or free him too? Is this who I've always been, buried under laundry, dinners, and compromise? I closed the journal, put it exactly where I found it, and sat down, my hands shaking. I wasn't angry, not really. I was terrified. Terrified that I'd opened a door I couldn't close again, because I had asked for this. I had planted the seed of trying something new, thinking we'd come back stronger, thinking the distance would help us miss each other. But now I wasn't sure if she missed me at all. We hadn't talked about it since. I haven't told her I saw the journal. Maybe I'm waiting for her to bring it up. Maybe she's waiting for me to ask. There's a strange kind of love in our house now. Quiet. Careful. She still makes my coffee. I still rub her shoulders when she's tired. But it's like we're both holding our breath, wondering who will speak the truth first. I catch her sometimes, staring out the window with that faraway look, like she's somewhere else, someone else. And maybe she is. Maybe we both are. We tried something new, and now I don't recognize my wife. But the hardest part? I don't fully recognize myself either.